Hey, what's up, guys? I'm outside laying in the grass, just grounding, having a great moment. What you guys up to today? Decided to come out here after I made my little concoction to promote electricity and what have you. Lay in the grass a little bit, take in the sun. It's they say it's near a record here shortly. 99 degrees in the Midwest. It's breezy though, so it's bearable. So I've been out here for maybe about an hour, maybe 45 minutes or so. So I just want to sound off. We've been talking on trauma and thrust. So I guess this will be a sort of addition to it. So I wanted to focus on specifically what I call the bounce back period, the bounce back. As you know, like when the ball is kicked or when it, strikes the ground or what have you. In fact, I happen to have a ball right here. So remember when it's struck, when it's kicked, when it hits the ground, makes contact with the ground, it concaves, it becomes distorted because of its elastic properties. But in parts 1 and 2, I think in 3, or parts 1 and 2, I was saying that the very thing that, has the characteristic or personality per se of this ball, the very thing that gives it its character, all right, it can endure the trauma. It can be slammed against something. It can be kicked. And I likened being kicked or being slammed against something to the experiences of trauma in our lives. And so again, because of its elastic properties, it can endure much trauma. And even more so, or more relevant, is that because it is elastic, it is durable. When you inflict trauma upon this ball, when you slam it against the ground, when you kick it, it will absorb that energy that you put into the ball, and it will propel in various directions quickly. Specifically, so quick, right, that you would be hard pressed to catch it. Okay, in other words, if I position myself to kick this ball, and after making contact with my foot, if I tried to actually catch it, it would be nearly impossible. Why? Because of the consistency of the ball, because of its fabric, its makeup, it's elastic. It can absorb, and then it will use the force that you have put into it to propel itself farther, faster than it could go on its own. And so I said that we are like this ball because we are, I argue, elastic beings. Your skin is elastic. Your mental health is elastic. Spiritually, you're elastic. And I went in a little bit on that on the other video, so I won't belabor that point on this video. Okay? And lastly, we covered that if you were to drop this ball, or you remember back in school where you kind of quickly drop the ball, and right at a sweet spot you would kick the ball and it would go farther. You're like, holy cow, that thing went really far. And I explained why that is, and that's because when it makes contact with the ground, the ball essentially compacts like this, or concaves, I guess the term would be, and then it pushes back off of the ground in order to propel itself in its general direction. And so if you're kicking the ball right at the sweet spot, which is when it comes, it's about to leave the ground, and so it's basically pushing back because it's looking to go back to its normal shape. Boop. Remember? That happens so fast that you can't even see it happening. Faster than your eye can even perceive, your mind can perceive what is going on. At one moment it's concave, the next minute it's back to its natural form. And so, using that analogy and that demonstration, you know, if you believe me that we are elastic beings, that we have a natural form, a natural position, a natural mind state, you know, if you believe that, then the various influences and effects on your life or on yourself, your body, your person every day may only distort you for a moment. As they press against you, as they kick against you, as they push against you, you get what I'm saying? They can only have effectivity for a moment in time. For just as this ball, the bounce back should happen that quick. That quick. Okay? Because you are elastic beings. And so with that being said, just a couple more minutes here, focus on the bounce back principle, I'll call it. What is the relevance? What is the importance to take away from the bounce back? So, what are you made of? I guess I would pose as the first question. You have to know what you're made of. Okay? There are different types of balls. They're all made of rubber or some form of rubber. Right? There are big balls, small balls. There's all kinds of different balls. There's golf balls made out of a different material. Nonetheless, if you look at a golf ball being smacked by a driver in ultra slow motion, then you can clearly see that that golf ball, as solid as it is still concaving and then pushing back against the club to obtain a trajectory and its propulsion. A baseball. Look at a baseball being hit by a baseball bat. It loses its shape. Yes. It loses its shape. It becomes deformed. And because of its deformity in that moment in time, and because of its makeup as constructed by its designer, when you strike it, it's going to strike back and it's going to run away from you. Do you get what I mean? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? It's going to run away from you. You that is inflicting the trauma upon it, it's going to use, here's the bounce back principle, it's going to use the trauma that you have afflicted upon it to its benefit. It's going to use it to propel or be propelled away from the striking tool or instrument. That's the bounce back principle. You are not going to be, okay, so the ball is made to be struck, it's made to be hit, it's made to be kicked, it's made to be punched, it's made to be slammed against the pavement. That was its design by its creator. Likewise, I contend and I argue that your body was made for and to endure much punishment for the 70, 80, 90, 100 years that you were on this earth. That doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem logical or reasonable, does it? It doesn't seem honorable. It doesn't seem like that. But you explain to me why you have all the senses and sensory equipment that you have in your body then. You were made to feel heat. Therefore, it is quite likely that at multiple points in your life, you are going to burn your finger or hand. At multiple points in your life, you are going to feel cold. At multiple points in your life, you are going to get a gut punch. At multiple times, especially as a male, you are going to receive trauma to the nether regions. With that being said, you have sensory mechanisms for a reason and a purpose, and that is to experience all that life throws at you, no pun intended. All right? And so with that being said, what material are you made out of? Are you elastic? Are you elastic beings? Now, will you recover? Will you pop back out quick, and in a hurry? Quick, fast, and in a hurry? And then, furthermore, will you use that trauma to propel you into your destiny, into your future? So maybe we look at it this way, underneath the Bounceback Principle, that if it had not been for the trauma, if it had not been for the foot, the swift kick in the you-know-what, if it had not been for the negative experiences, where would you be? Who would you be? What would you be? How would you be? Huh? I'll share this and then I'll end. I recently found out who my real father is. Not long ago. Now I'm 48 years old. All right. And according to the story, my mother doesn't even know, or did not know, that I was being essentially, quote unquote, raised by a man who was not my father for 40 plus years of my life. And as I began to learn of this occurrence, I found that neither of the parents remember or recall the incident, I'll say, that attributed to me being here today. Neither, to this day, still don't remember. Go 70s, if you know what I mean. So my point is, again, what material are you made out of? How will you use the trauma, the experience, the punch, the kick, the being slammed against the walls of life and stuck in between a rock and a hard place? That's up to you how you're going to use it. Now, check it out. I did not know who my father was. I recently learned of it, and I learned that because of a perhaps one-night stand, as they call it, I'm here today. I'm now 48 years old, and I just found that out. So, with that being said, it took the melding together of my father, biological now, and my biological mother. Without that occurrence, I would not be here today. Now, it's not a pretty story. It's not a magical story of love and patience and kindness and sacrifice. No, it's not that kind of story. This is a story. I am born of a story. I am here because of a story that was not very pretty, was not very romantic. Neither parent remembers the event. I wasn't made out of love and Are you picking up what I'm putting down? All right. But nonetheless, y'all, I am here. The Bounceback Principle. What are you made of? Huh? What are you made of? Are you going to harness the purpose and reason for which you exist? Or are you going to be self-absorbed and say, woe is me, I keep getting kicked, I don't understand why I'm being kicked, And henceforth, you fail to take advantage of the kick and absorb the potential and energy and change it into kinetic energy to propel yourself into your destiny. You have that option, you have that choice, but you have to change your attitude first. You have to go through the complete process. And with that being said, I'm gonna let you go. I think you have enough to chew on there. It's after 15 minutes. I try to keep these between 10 and 15 minutes. All right, with that being said, now you've been made free. The question is, what are you gonna do with it? The Bounceback Principle. You heard it here first. Peace.